Hey everybody, I'm out in my 2004 Pontiac GTO right now. I had my laptop, my camera with me, so I figured I'd take an opportunity to give a demonstration of something I haven't really seen a lot of documentation about online, especially videos. This all pertains to the VZ Cluster Mod software and the cable that accompanies it. For those of you that are new to the platform, just getting into a GTO or have never heard of it, the VZ Cluster Mod is essentially a way you can fiddle to a certain degree with the software that's integrated or built into your factory gauge cluster in your car. So you can do things like activate your factory shift light, you can alter your temperature gauge calibration, you can change your startup screen from the standard Pontiac to Holden Special Vehicles to standard Holden. You have options on stuff that you can do. You can change your mile per hour, indication, brightness. There's a bunch of stuff that you can play with, and it's a very, very neat little piece of software that's pretty commonly available. The cables aren't hard to come by. This is something that you can get into for about $100, maybe $125 or less. And it's pretty cool to just kind of be able to get in tune with the car and be able to play with some of the software that is kind of from a bygone era at this point in time. So out of all the options that you have with this kind of stuff, I think one of the more interesting things that you do have access to is the what's called a preset command. So you will format all of this in preset. These are basically pre-formatted commands that you can send to the gauge cluster once you're in and communicating with it with your laptop. And you have 4 different indications here. So you have manual, which is what this car was built with as a 6-speed. Automatic, which is what a manual or an automatic factory car would be. 2, or the third indication, which would be manual with a gear change indicator. And then the last option is the manual with the automatic PRND 321, which is kind of an odd choice to do. But I went ahead and selected the third option, which is actually tagged as number 2, and that is the manual with gear change indicator. I believe this is more relevant, or it's actually a factory usage for automatic only cars. And so as you'll see, it only actually goes up to 4th gear. But for the people that are going to use this to learn how to drive manual transmission, this is a very good indicator instead of having to look all the way down at the shifter to know which gauge you're in. Or if you're just cruising around, you got something else on your mind, you don't have to keep looking down if you're one of the people that does that. You need the visual confirmation to shift. But again, there's a bunch of really, really cool, neat little commands that you can use with this software. I can't recommend it enough. I know Jack Torres is also involved with this. He's helped me out with some of the cable issues that I had, and helped me out on some of the software stuff that I had issues with running fairly old software on a Windows 11 laptop. So he's a great guy in the community, great person to keep in touch with. Can't say enough good things about the guy. Never had an issue with him. But I'm going to flop the camera onto the windshield on the suction cup mount. We'll go for a drive. I'll show you guys how this indicator works and how it functions with downshift, so you'll be able to see the tach, the whole gauge cluster, and see where the indication comes on. So now I've got you guys mounted up on the windshield. I've got the clutch in, car's in neutral at the moment, and we're going to go ahead and just start slipping the clutch in first gear, take off like normal since I'm in town. You'll see the indication on the gauge cluster. So there's first gear, and again, I think this does this by speed. Second gear, and it will begin to indicate as you let the clutch out. Third gear, and then I didn't shift into 4th, that was just right back into neutral, and as you slow down, I believe it'll indicate 3, 2, 1, yep, there it goes, 3, 2, 1, neutral, back into first gear. That's 5th gear. Again, like I said earlier, I don't believe this actually has a provision for 5th and 6th gear because they were only probably set up for the factory automatic cars, which are all 4-speed 4L60 or 4L65E cars. So again, here we are cruising 4th gear, 45 miles an hour. You can also use this to recalibrate the factory speed error that's in, I believe, all 2004 cars. So the mile an hour is off by like 1 or 2 miles an hour at highway speed, probably to prevent people from actually speeding. But either way, it's something you can correct this. You can correct that issue. So downshift 3rd gear, downshift 2nd, downshift 1st. It'll show all the indications on it. It's a very, very neat little piece of this car that a lot of people either haven't looked at or it's just kind of gone by the wayside. It's not something a lot of people seem to have ever really talked about. Again, Josh's Car Corner, he's got a bunch of really, really good documentation on how to use VZ Cluster Mod. And I mean, he's got a very, very good walkthrough of it. That's something I kind of browsed over before I really got into this. Just 4th gear, and again, it'll follow you as you downshift manually. Then we're pulling up to home, and so we'll go through the normal downshifts. So yeah, this is a very, very neat little piece of software. It's just kind of a hidden little feature of the car that you need the cable and a laptop and access to the software to do. Software is super easy to deal with, you know, if you have a rudimentary idea about how computers work. Also, I'm in reverse right now. There is no provision for reverse in this as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen it. I've never seen documentation of it if it does exist. So, yeah, thanks for watching. That's kind of how this works. That's a demonstration on what it actually looks like when you're in a car, when you're driving. Clear as day, you can see how it operates. So, yeah, if you go through with it, nice little feature to have. Otherwise, you know, you could always just leave it alone and enjoy the car how it is.